Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA episode 430. I am Brendan. UFC Fight Night, Hernandez versus Pereira, right? I'm pretty sure it's Pereira. I get them confused because it's Pereira and Pereira, but they're spelled this. I don't know. It really comes down to their pronunciation, how they want to do it. Anyway, I think. Okay, we're going to talk about that fight. We're going to talk about all the fights in the main card here. Can break them down all right. I'll break them all down round by round. If you like this kind of thing, subscribe to the channel. That way the next video is coming up. I'd appreciate it. Let's get right into this. We got a lot of fights to cover. Okay, so this fight had the potential to be more interesting than it was. The way the first round started compared to how it ended up going. Overall, I think this night, again, I keep trying to do these at the beginning of the video, so I remember this night was worth watching. I do recommend going back. It's free as long as you got ESPN Plus. I do recommend going to watch these fights. The main event, even if it's not your cup of tea, the Rob Font, Kyler Phillips fight was awesome. Charles Johnson versus Sumudaerji was awesome. Jake Hadley, Cameron Smotherman, it was okay. Lots of fouls. Darren Elkins versus Daniel Pineda. Lots of fun fights. The main card was fantastic. I recommend it. Go back and watch it if you didn't. This is, I would say, appointment viewing, even for casual fans. All right. Pineda was stabbing with the front kick to the body, and Hernandez hurt almost immediately. So he pressures in with tons of volume, trying to get him out of there. But, you know, Hernandez is a tough son of a bitch, and he stays in there, and he actually wins the rest of the round. You know, he was able to start applying pressure, keep the pressure, keep in Pineda's face. Hernandez, you know, finally got the takedown with 35 seconds left. He didn't do much with it. He did have 1 minute and 25 seconds of total control time, but that wasn't, you know, it was only 30 seconds of control time on the ground. He outstruck him 27-15, but Hernandez was hurt in this round, and I maintain that if you look at the rules, whoever's closer to finishing the fight in that round counts for more like that damage counts more, right? Especially on instantaneous damage instead of cumulative damage. So if you go with cumulative damage, yeah, Hernandez might have gotten it in this round, but Pereira definitely was closer to finishing the fight, definitely did more damage instantaneously. I had him winning this round 10-9. That is not how the rest of the fight went. It could have been fun if it went like that. It did not, you know. Hernandez gets a takedown, pushes him to the cage. He pokes him in the eye, gets a second warning, which was weird because Hernandez gets 2 warnings, even though he poked him in the face, poked him in the eye twice. But Jake Hadley got a point deduction, even though he was only warned, and then he poked him in the eye. So the warning counted as a warning, and then he didn't get a second warning, even though he fouled. What I just said sounded confusing and stupid, because it is. That's exactly the situation we just had. Is dumb. Just be consistent, guys. I understand there's two different referees, but it's the same night. At least be consistent on the fucking night. So frustrating to watch this shit. Take the point. I'm all for taking the point. Just take it. Take it every time. I was surprised when we get to it. Well, I was surprised they took the point from Hadley. Anyway, Hernandez pressuring in, giving Pereira issues. He's just not able to throw freely because of the pressure, and he's always worried about getting taken down. Hernandez shoots in, gets stuck in a guillotine, but there was nothing really there. He goes arm triangle, and Pineda gets back on top, but he just looks so freaking tired, and he ends up getting taken down again. Oh, God, my nose. I had it 19-19 going to the third. Hernandez pressures in with the, so he outstruck him here 30-2. Tons of control time, 3 minutes 18 seconds. Next round, not a lot to score here for Pereira. 44-3 for striking numbers in the fourth round. And I know you're saying, or the third round, sorry. And I know you're saying, like, how come he didn't say anything? Well, because he just took him down almost immediately. It was on top for 4 minutes and 17 seconds. Then you're like, okay, well, what about the fourth round? How did that one go? Pretty much the same. So I actually had a 10-8 in the third round. And then a fourth round, I had it back to a 10-9. So overall, going into the last round, I had 39-36. More of the same in this last round until Hernandez gets a finish via elbows. Looking at the scorecards, Ben Cartledge and Ron McCarthy had all 4 rounds for Hernandez. Derek clearly is the only one who gave Pereira the first round. I understand that. It's a little more complex, and some people don't really want to see it, although Derek clearly isn't the beacon of knowledge or consistency, so I wouldn't necessarily hang my hat on the fact that I agreed with him. But like the rest of the guys, 10-8 rounds. All three of the other rounds from Derek clear were 10-8, so he's all over the fucking place. Ron McCarthy gave a 10-8 in the second round, but not the rest. And then Ben Cartledge gave a 10-8 in the third round. So Hernandez looks great. I think he's an excellent talent in the division. I think he has holes in his game, and if someone can stop that pressure and really apply some strikes, I think he's going to be in trouble. That being said, if you can't stop him, he's going to be hard to put away. Like, if you can't stop the pressure, I mean. Like, obviously, if you stop him, you put him away. Overall, not the most interesting fight, but like I said, it's appointment. This card was appointment viewing because of the rest of the fights. And the first one wasn't there. The main event wasn't that bad. Rob Font versus Kyler Phillips. Okay, this is a story of essentially two fights. The first round being one fight and the second two being another. The Phillips right away to the single leg, gets on top. They get back up and Font trying, but just not enough damage to outdo all the damage that Phillips did. He had 3 minutes and 34 seconds of control time. Dominated this first round essentially. What actually happened when they got back up on the feet is inconsequential in my opinion. Font was not able to do enough. So this first round goes to Phillips 10-9. Second round, Font finding the mark with that right uppercut a few times, posting with the left hand and then popping him with that uppercut. Beautiful stops. Phillips gets a takedown, but then Font gets back up, and that kind of spelled the beginning of the end for Phillips. He just had no answer. Font with the pressure, finding the mark with the 1-2. Phillips on the bike, just waiting for his chance to shoot, just never got it. Font's pressure is forcing Phillips to wilt as he's retreating. Phillips just has no answer on the feet, looking like he's in survival mode the entire time that he's standing up. Great pressure, great answer. What a response from Font in the second round, outstriking him 31-14, doing a ton of damage, staying on the feet, 19-19 going into the last round. Phillips shoots takedown, just can't hold it. They get back up, and this just looks exactly like the second round. 23-14 for striking numbers in favor of Font. Again, the ground control time is inconsequential. Font did way more damage. He clearly won this one, 29-28. All three judges saw it the same way. Very clear, good job. Way to go, Font, getting back in the win column. I mean, he was, coming off of 2 losses? Yeah, 2 losses to Corey Sandhagen and Davison Figueiredo. So no shame in that. Like, he's losing to some of the best guys in the world. It's just, it's never great for your psyche to just stack up losses in the consolation of saying, hey, well, I lost to the number 2 guy, and I lost to the champion, and I lost to the number 1 guy in the world. Like, they're still losses, and it can't be great. It can't feel great like that, especially for someone who, does this for a living. Like, for someone who's casual, if you're a casual grappler or whatever, and you go compete and you lose a few, who gives a shit? But like, if this is your living and you're losing, it weighs on you, and it's just good for him to get back out there. I love Font. I think he's an awesome guy to watch fight, and it's unfortunate. It's not unfortunate. It's one of the downsides of being a higher ranked guy is you start fighting consistently people in the top 5, obviously, or the top 10. And what happens is, like, you fight these guys, and yeah, you might do well, but it's a loss on your record. You can easily stack up 3, 4, 5 losses, like losing 5 out of 6. And, your record looks like shit. You might get cut from the UFC, even though you're only fighting some of the best in the division. Usually the UFC takes care of people like that, but it can't feel great just losing consistently over time. So it's good for Font to get back in the win column. All right, Charles Johnson versus Sumudaerji. I don't know what it is. I really like what's his face? Oh my goodness. On commentary, it was Brendan Fitzgerald, Paul Felder, and Dominic Cruz. I really like Dominic Cruz, but he does not like Charles Johnson. The last time he fought, I know who he fought too. Joshua Van. All he did was talk about how good Joshua Van was doing, but as Johnson was outlanding him and ends up finishing him, same thing here. It's talking about how good Sumudaerji looks and how good this and how good that, as Charles Johnson is literally doing the exact same thing, outstriking him, looking good. And, I don't know if he has a vendetta against him, if he just doesn't like Charles Johnson's fighting style, if he doesn't appreciate what he's seeing, or if there's some other factor. But when you watch a Charles Johnson fight and you hear Dominic Cruz on commentary, he's going to talk about the other guy and how good the other guy's doing. Johnson right across in his face, pushing him to the cage. Johnson really looking to strike his way back into grappling range. Sumudaerji going low kicks and jabs as he backs up. It looks like Johnson wants to grapple a little bit, wants to get into the clinch, wants to make it tight, because out in the open, Sumudaerji was able to, Johnson finally able to strike his way into a body in the clinch, and Johnson ends around unloading and landing a bit against the cage with the pressure. And that last little flurry, I gave him this round. The striking numbers were actually in favor of Sumudaerji in this first round, 24-19. But the damage and the pressure, because if you look at where a majority of Sumudaerji's shots landed in this first round, like that made the biggest difference, it was the leg shots. He landed 10, and Johnson only landed 2. So that 8 strike differential, if you take all those away, I understand that's not fair, but if you take all those away, it's 19-16 in favor of Johnson, right? Or take away Johnson's 2 kicks. So now it's 17-16. It was really close on the striking numbers is what I'm trying to get at. Because those leg kicks, yeah, they were damaging, but was it really enough to stop what Johnson was doing because he was pressuring forward into him? I don't know. But as far as what I saw, Johnson did more damage in this first round. I easily gave it to him 10-9. Second round, Johnson right in on the pressure again. He's really twitchy. He's moving like really fast, bouncing up and down, moving all around, right? And he's frenetic with his movements, making Sumudaerji react a ton. And when they stand in the middle, Johnson is pursuing him and trying to get him to the cage, but Sumudaerji is able to just land 1 or 2 shots every 15 seconds when they're in the middle, and that keeps him out in front for the striking. But then Sumudaerji overswings and misses, turns around completely and sprints, just runs away, and Johnson chases him down, cracks him good, and then pressures him, able to track him down again, cracks him yet again. Should have been a finish. No joke. Like, this fight should have been finished. I understand Mark Smith was trying to give Sumudaerji a chance to get back up. I don't know if, like I said, there's something against Johnson where, like, people are, or something for Sumudaerji. I don't know if they're trying to push certain people, whatever it is. He was literally just, Sumudaerji threw up a triangle because he stopped quitting. Like, he essentially quit. He just crumpled down, sat there, and wasn't intelligently defending himself for a ton of shots that he got hit with. He got outstruck here 30-23. And remember, Sumudaerji was out in front in the striking numbers. So that differential, the amount of strikes that Johnson landed in that barrage where Sumudaerji was essentially just sitting there taking a knee, like, was, probably 10, 15 shots. So you look at this and you're like, okay, like, obviously it's Johnson's round, so I have him up 2, but should that fight have been finished? I think it should have. And then in the last round, you can kind of see Johnson, moving a little bit slower, not a ton, but clearly tried to get him out of there. And that second round wasn't able to do it. So, Johnson landing with big loop and lefts, but Sumudaerji goes takedown, probably from being tired. Johnson gets on top, able to land in the clinch, but when they were standing up, Sumudaerji outstruck him, looked decent, went darce, and then took some knees to landed some knees to the face. This last round was clearly Sumudaerji's, outstruck him 28-16, no argument there, but this fight was clearly Charles Johnson's. And all 3 judges saw it the exact same way. Mike Bell, Chris Lieben, hey, Chris Lieben, what's up, the Crippler? Chris Lieben and Ron McCarthy all calling it the same, so. All right, now we get to a sloppy fight. We got to talk about it, though. It had its moments. It wasn't a bad fight necessarily, but it just wasn't clean. Jake Hadley versus Cameron Smotherman. That guy really lived up to his name. I think I said that in my notes. He really smothered him with a ton of pressure. Just a lot of guys on this card with not similar technique, but similar game plans with utilizing that pressure and the opponent wilting under it, essentially, for a majority of it, feeling stifled, not able to unload their offense. Hadley going hard inside low kick, Smotherman slowly pressuring forward. There you go. Hadley leading with his head, getting caught by that right hand a few times. Hadley just isn't able to keep Smotherman off of him, living up to his name. Smotherman landing the better shots all round, going to the body well, outstruck him 37-24, outpressured him, did all the things they needed to do, looked really good. Boxing was better. Hadley kicks him in the nuts pretty hard from a low inside kick. Smotherman moving forward. Hadley, while he was moving forward, right? So, like, he throws that inside low kick, right? And when you try to land right there, if the person moves in like this, all of a sudden, when you throw that kick, it goes right to the nuts. That's exactly what happened. Hadley picking up the output and Smotherman obliging and willing to stay in the pocket. Now with a really bad eye poke from Hadley. But here's the thing. He didn't land an eye poke before. He was warned about it. Gets a point deduction. I can't believe they took it. I'm all for point deductions. But then, like I said earlier in this video, the exact same situation, in fact, a worse situation happened in the main event, and they didn't take a point. So make up your fucking mind. Not even make up your mind. Just take the point. No more options. Just take the fucking point. Hadley gets a takedown in the clinch and end the round. He did get outstruck here 25-18. I don't know why, but I felt like Hadley won this round. I don't know if it was more damage or the pressure he was putting out there with the control time. I just felt like he did more in this round to try and finish the fight. I felt like he might have landed as much damage, if not more. And then obviously with the control time, having a minute of control time. It was a close round, so he gave this to Smotherman, totally understand. But it was a 9-9 round, so now it's 19-18 to Smotherman because of that point deduction. So last round here, Smotherman pressuring him this round, getting the better of it. Smotherman kicks him in the nuts now, so they're even on nut kicks. Hadley landing a left hand as Smotherman moves in. He's wobbled, doesn't follow up enough. Here's the thing. Hadley could have made this a draw. Yes, he got outstruck here 34-18, but he rocked him with that left hand, and Smotherman, he did recover, but had Hadley been able to keep the pressure on and land some more big shots and really show that Smotherman was hurt bad, he could have won this last round and then taken it to a draw, but it wasn't. All three judges saw it the same way. Oh, no, sorry. Adelaide Bird gave the second round to Smotherman. I'll give her a pass, I guess, on that one. Ben Cartledge and Derek clearly had it 29-27. So Adelaide Bird, the dingus, I just don't trust her scorecards at all. Even if she accidentally gets it right, that old saying, a broken clock is right twice a day, that's her. She's the broken clock. All right, and then appointment viewing here. Darren the Damage Elkins. His fights are always worth stopping and paying attention to, even if he's early on a prelim. It doesn't matter. I always take notice when you hear that name. Elkins going knee tap and falls into a guillotine. Deep guillotine, even gets mounted, but he gets out of it and gets on top. Elkins doing some good damage on top. Pineda gets up and goes guillotine again, but Elkins able to get out, and Pineda is bleeding so freaking bad from both of his freaking eyebrows. Pineda ends a round in mount with ground and pound. This round is hard to call. If you go pure damage, those cuts mean a lot. But he only landed 3 shots, 3 significant strikes. He obviously landed more total strikes in this first round. It was a lot closer, 27-23 for total strikes. But he was outstruck 13-3. The control time was dead even to 207 to each. Very close round as far as damage goes. So it depends on which way you lean. I leaned towards Pineda, but just barely. I had him up 10-9. Second round here. Pineda right eye is closing bad. Both guys looking to move a little bit slower. Pineda's landing hard right, hard in tight, and Elkins is using his volume with looping rights and left hooks. Elkins gets the takedown, taking the back for a bit, not able to land a ton. They get back up. Pineda goes guillotine again, and Elkins gets on top again, opening up cuts with elbows and taking this round. Had he not gone for that guillotine, who knows what would have happened, but that allowed Elkins to stay on top, get outstriking him here 19-12, clearly doing more damage, and this is clearly his round. Last round, Elkins goes slow single. Pineda defends and gets on top, but they're back up, and Elkins keeps going takedown. Another close round here with Elkins on his pressure. Pineda just not landing as many hard shots as he could have. Not even landing as much as he did in the previous round. 17-6 for striking numbers in favor of Elkins. Clearly his round. And I mean, it was close, but it was clearly for him. And then 29-28. And then, Pineda. Let's look at the scorecards real quick. All three judges saw it the same way. Ben Cartledge, Genitro Camijo, and Tony Weeks all saw it the same way, giving Pineda that first round and Elkins the second two. And then Pineda, obviously, he retires. It seems more like a frustration retire. Obviously, he's saying 3 wars in a row. This is too much for me. Do I think he's actually retired? Well, don't know. We'll see if he comes back, but we'll see. I wish all the best to him in his future endeavors. If he does come back and fight, then I wish him luck there too as well. I hope that he comes back with renewed vigor and renewed vigor and motivation. I hope that he makes the right decision for him and his family. That's what I'm hoping for. So anyway, that's it for the main card. The next video is going to break down the prelims. I appreciate y'all for stopping by. It means a lot to me. If you like this kind of thing, subscribe to the channel. That when the next video is coming out. And if you did like this video, hit the like button. I'd appreciate that too. So I hope you guys have an amazing week. I love y'all. Peace.